of equipment. I mean, really.
I haven't even opened it yet. My developer is waiting for his in Germany because they can't buy them there. So I got him one. I have to figure out how to get it to Germany.
Oh yeah, don't ship it, because I had a friend who tried to ship me something out of Germany. I still haven't gotten it, and she sent it like 3 months ago.
Wow.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
That's
it's crazy.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, you just have to fly over there, Spencer.
There you go.
Well, actually,
Spencer.
that might in 2 months. I think I'm going to go to London, so I might make a little side trip.
What part of Germany?
He's in where is he? He's in Dresden. So Eastern.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Hi, Tim.
Tim.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I work with Ricky for background here.
Nice.
Oh, good. You're the guest. You're the +1. You're Ricky's +1.
Love it. Thanks for joining us, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
I was gonna ask Ricky, talk to us about spatial. What's happening. Talk to me what's happening there. I know that I was kind of into it, and then I don't know, they got kind of shut down or bought, or I don't know, some such shit happened. So what's happening with spatial these days?
Yeah, I've been dabbling around with it lately. So I just got like some NFT that's got like a penthouse space in spatial. And so I've been experimenting with it. Tim and I actually just played around in VR the other day, just like seeing if we could host a meeting in that space. And, it seems like a pretty user-friendly, like we ran into some hurdles with like being able to hear each other and get the audio working. But as far as low cost, low barrier to entry to try out full immersive VR, it's one of the simpler options out there. It's all Unity, so it doesn't quite have the photorealism of something like an Unreal Engine environment, but I dabbled and checked out a few of the other ones that are open world. Not a ton of foot traffic. Like the biggest space I'd say is like maybe 30 people. Most of them are probably 2 or 3. But again, I just like the setup. It's kind of like a social media platform. You can have an account, people can follow you. There's just an open library of live spaces in real time. Super easy to send someone a link. You can access on your computer on full VR. So lots of flexibility. It's a pretty cool platform.
Now, talk to me about what was this? What's the history? Like didn't they get bought? Spatial got bought by someone, yeah? Or what happened? Because they were pumping out stuff, and I was talking about them, and then they got shut down or got bought or something changed. I can't remember what.
Yeah, so I remember they started like a remote work collaboration tool. So they were really focused on HoloLens type stuff and like trying to create like a remote work thing, kind of like Glue, those other ones.
Yeah.
And my buddies at Deloitte Digital have done a lot of work with them too, or at least they were a couple of years ago. But now they seem like they're much more invested in the Web3 world. So they're like working alongside companies like Exclusible, which I don't know if you know about them, but luxury NFTs, working with consumer goods. They've partnered up with Vogue Business, and like they're doing a lot more of this kind of Web3 stuff now.
Nice.
But I don't know if they've been acquired or anything. I know they've slowed down hiring. They've definitely pulled back on their growth. They're really focused on like engineers and mostly in APAC at the moment.
Well, nowadays it requires focus. So that's interesting to hear.
I saw an article recently, all three. So, I mean, the 3 kind of big ones, Spatial, Decentraland, and Sandbox. There's something posting that how their numbers have dropped. I'll see if I can find that article.
Yeah.
It's super inaccurate. So I'm not bullish on Decentraland. I don't think that it's like a really amazing space, to be honest, but the 58 active users is total BS. It's like
that doesn't make sense.
It's a few thousand.
It's 300,000 is what they say. Yeah. I mean, really, I can see it. You drive them in there, they go once, and then that's it.
But even a couple thousand daily users is not a lot for how much money they have.
No, it's not a lot.
Exactly. And I saw UPS just launched a store in Decentraland, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
You know what you're doing? I mean, really? Yeah.
I wonder how far behind some of that stuff is. Of like they signed a contract 6 months ago.
Yes.
Like it's just kind of filtering out or something.
I could see that actually. I could see that.
Because I thought that was crazy too, to see another big logo suddenly show up. JP Morgan
Exactly.
Chase is the one that surprises me the most, because
Yes.
Jamie Dimon is so anti-crypto, and that we still see they have a whole division of Onyx investing in crypto assets and
Yeah.
dabbling in
Versus like Tim Horton, doing, roadblocks right now. I mean, it's really fun to see Tim Horton in there and bringing in their sponsors and actually, introducing like the NFL and whatnot all to Web 3.0. It's really quite beautiful.
Well, an HSBC with rugby has been really interesting too. Trying to bring that in, and there's a lot going on with Formula One. Formula One is pretty invested. I think they did something in I forget it was spatial or one. I don't think it was Decentraland. Yeah, I think it was a different.
Good.
Yeah.
My opinions are my own. That's
no, I'm not a big fan. I think it's one of the worst ones. It's not full VR functional. The games aren't interesting. There's no AR component to it, and it's all in the blockchain, so it's really difficult to access. So there's so many blockers to Decentraland.
Yeah, exactly.
So many.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for being here. Hi, Jody. We have a small crew today. Well, I so appreciate you guys being here. Lisa, do you want to kick things off?
Yeah, and because it is a small group, I think I might just go off book tonight, and I'm feeling a little like going rogue. So I probably have way too many slides because I always over prepare for everything. So I may just skip over some of this stuff, to be honest, and we can just kind of open it up to conversation, which I think is way cooler than having a script anyway. But let's just go through. So I'm going to hop through some announcements, and then we'll just sort of take it from there. And it's super interactive, everyone. So we are having our XR happy hour down in the Bay Area on Thursday, November 10th. If you're in the area or plan on being down there, please join us. We'd love to see you on that Thursday. And there's the event link. If anybody's interested, just let me know. It's on LinkedIn, and happy to share that with you. But Billie and I will be schmoozing and talking XR down there in November.
I'll be in the Bay Area all week, so if anybody's around, let me know.
Yay. And then because things, the end of the month gets so busy here for November, December with Thanksgiving and Christmas, we're going to take a couple months off, and then we'll be back in January. So I just wanted to let everyone know that the pub crawl will be taking a holiday break. Billie and I have some speaking engagements and things that are making this time of year extra busy, and it's super exciting for us, but just want to have some time to think and actually to kind of evolve the pub crawl and see how we can make it more valuable. So we'll be doing some good So I don't know, this was the big piece of news. Everyone see this? Boy, oh boy, Meta. So if you didn't see this, right, it's an interesting read. It's I have the link here to the letter that, and I'll post it in chat, that was written just basically saying, look, you need to get your shit together. And
cut.
20% payroll cut. I mean, the gist of it was they're super, super amped about AI, and they want to pull back spending on the metaverse is the long and short of the article, really. So any thoughts on the crew here on this post, what it means or what it might mean for the future of Meta?
I was really, they're losing the confidence of their shareholders, and it's very clear. It's very clear in what the stock performance has done in comparison to others, and it was clear that this very loosey-goosey model of adding, people with no real results in this environment is not going to fly. And so I think the letter just hit the nail on the head as far as I was concerned. I see Intel doing the same thing. I see Microsoft doing the same thing. I mean, it's happening across the board.
Yeah. What do you think, Spencer? You were going to pipe
in. I didn't read the letter, but I got the gist of it from talking with people on Twitter and stuff. The way that Meta, Facebook has rolled out the metaverse, been really, a lot of people are, especially in so much negative press, and we don't really do a lot of our own research as a public. We're all kind of dumb, and so all of the negative news has caused a lot of people to to start to back away from it, like this person here. This is going to happen. The wearable AR is going to happen. Not all like in a year eating rats.
There's some background noise.
Gonna...
I guess if you're not, I don't know if there's definitely hearing some background noise that I'd love to get rid of. So that would be helpful. And Spencer, you're cutting out in and out a little bit. So just so you know.
Maybe if I take these off, is that better if I just talk into my iPad instead?
I think that's a little bit better. Thanks, Spencer. And I think thanks for whoever muted that background noise is gone now. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for being producer on this. It's good. Yeah, I think that that, like I said, I think that wearable AR is going to happen. Whether Meta pulls it off or Apple comes in and does its we can do it better thing that they've done like their lifetime as Apple, but it's going to happen. I'm pretty anti Facebook, although I did just like get 2 of these freaking things in the mail today. I
want one too. I feel guilty for wanting one. I'm so against Zuckerberg.
Well, it's a great piece of gear by all accounts. It's a really amazing piece of gear. And yes, I'd love to give my feedback. In fact, I was thinking about throwing up a camera and doing a quick unboxing and experience kind of thing.
Yeah, smart.
But yes, I think it's going to happen. I think that Meta has made some good work. I have a buddy of mine who just left Meta, who was pretty high up in the development cycle, and he was horrified and left. So there's problems there, and I don't think because of I think it's because of it's a giant freaking company, and coming from Magic Leap when they were at like almost 2,000 people, and then suddenly cut a ton. I know how these technology, these funding heavy technology projects they can go, and I think that's what's happening.
The honeymoon is over.
There's so many people up there at the top who are smoking a big spleef and handing it back and forth and going, oh, what if we had legs, bro? Or, oh man, and what if you could do this? And there's those conversations, oh yeah, and then we're going to be able to do this. Those conversations happen 90% of the time more than the conversations where we're like, hey, can I make a cube and put it on the table and have it have a drop shadow and then knock it onto the ground? Can I do that? Like let's work on that first before we make Mark Zuckerberg look like a real life person.
Well, and this really takes us into the thrust of what we're going to talk about today, which is the conversations that aren't happening around really what we want the metaverse to be. I mean, none of us are taking the time out to just really sit and think about this. And I love this where it says, in addition, people are confused by what the metaverse even means, and I think that is still the case. And so just to that end, I do want to run through, in my view, when I say metaverse, what I mean, I believe that the metaverse is an aspirational place that doesn't exist yet. I've said this, I think, every time we're talking about the metaverse, but I like to level set. The metaverse is an open and interoperable, persistent network of virtual worlds offering access to 3D virtual spaces, activities, environments created by users. I've also been seeing the term multiverse thrown around in this space. It's not really, I mean, technically the multiverse has nothing to do with metaverse, but just in case you see that, I wanted to just bring that to light, and I was kind of exploring that definition. And then I have this concept of miniverse. I'm like, well, maybe if, people insist on using this term metaverse to describe all these virtual spaces, maybe really, the term is miniverse, because, we don't have a metaverse yet. And I'm kind of a word girl and a little bit of a geek. So just looking at kind of the root meaning of some of these prefixes, I thought this was interesting. Meta meaning kind of beyond, multi more than one, and mini a smaller reduced size. But the idea that the metaverse is even here yet, I totally disagree with that. And
can I offer another one?
Yeah.
Just because as you're talking about miniverse, it sounds diminutive and small and not important? And what about module verse or something around modularization of, because that's really, I believe, what is going to happen is we're going to have these metaverse modules. And here, let me take a big hit on the spleef and hand it to you guys. But I think that it's going to be a module. And so that's what, I've built a module. Some of you guys have built modules of the metaverse, and you'll switch between modules or maybe be able to plug them together. Anyway,
well, today it's kind of what we have, right? You hop over from one to another and they're not really connected.
And why don't we just call it virtual world? I mean, this is my thing. Like, why is everyone so allergic to calling a spade a spade? Just call it a virtual goddamn world, which is what it is. It's the planet. If the metaverse is a universe, the virtual world is a planet within that universe. And right now we don't have interplanetary transportation, right? Just like we don't have it yet. We can't transport. And that's where I think we're at, and some of the reasons that these are just barriers to adoption, basically, at the end of the day. And virtual space, right, is another thing that we hear. And virtual space is, I consider that to be a computer simulated place or environment where users can interact, but it's much, virtual space, much broader term than, say, a virtual world, which is a little bit more narrow, where you have an avatar and you're kind of moving around and it's a social environment. Virtual spaces don't need to be open. They can be walled gardens. We think of virtual events, sometimes I'll create a virtual space. It's not the same as a virtual world because it's not open. There's no foot traffic. So I just like to go through that. So I just recently got on my soapbox and just wanted to talk about building the metaverse for a moment, and this premise that I don't think any of us, to your point, Spencer, are doing enough to really be informed digital citizens. I think we need to really be comfortable with the fact that we all have a role to play in building the metaverse, and we all need to take responsibility for our actions and who we're supporting and where our time is going online. And we have to be smart, and we have to understand how we're being manipulated by technology. It's important. It's essential. In fact, if we don't all get wise to how we're being manipulated by technology, then metaverse is going to suck balls and it's going to be a fucking apocalypse. That's my prediction. Okay. So media literacy is becoming essential. And I could go on and on about that, but anyway, I'm going to talk about I have 3 pillars. I'm just going to run through them. Billie, I'm going to kind of give the theory. This is an aspirational vision framework that I am championing here of how I want it to be. You guys can disagree with me if you want. And then Billie has some kind of practical applications that the enterprise marketer, Marcom Pro, can think about how to bring in some of these elements today, right? Because we don't have a metaverse today, but it's not too soon to start thinking about how to bring in some of this. So the first tenet I have of my manifesto for the metaverse is creating citizens, not consumers. And this is all about understanding that the metaverse in its ideal state is going to be comprised of citizens that are entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We are talking about a actual digital world. And we got to stop thinking about, these digital selves as commodities. And that's really how we're thinking about them
as
now.
A target audience.
It has to be a huge paradigm shift.
Yeah.
If they're not, is it okay if we ask questions in the middle of this?
Oh, of course you can.
Okay.
That's the whole point. Yes, please.
If they're not consumers, how are you monetizing this? And that's the question.
No, that's the problem. Would you ask how you're monetizing, the street, the sidewalk that you walk down? Do you talk about how you're monetizing the road you drive on? No.
Okay, so then all right. No, that's great. I'm a firm believer in a public-private connection there, so that we have basically our tax dollars going to an infrastructure that supports this.
Yes, exactly. That's what we need. We need a democratized infrastructure, and this is what the framework speaks to, for sure.
Okay,
citizens are entitled to contribute to the making of the rules and regulations that govern the community, and citizens are entitled to protection from a governing body and are granted the rights and privilege of free people. These are things that we believe in, or at least we used to as a society, that has to apply to our digital worlds. And no one's stopping to just really say this and think about it. I feel like we're just rushing, and we all need to take a big pause. And so, Billie, do you want to talk about some of the things that kind of how we can practically apply that?
Well, I mean, like on the last point you made there, you can see Twitter is, dealing with this today, and actually all the platforms deal with this today as far as who to actually censor and who not to censor and how to do all that. It's an interesting one. I did want to touch on understand the individual and their specific needs as far as a citizen is concerned. We in the marketing space, really treat people as a target audience, right? And we don't think of them individually and what their specific needs are. And in the B2B space in comparison to the consumer space, we really see this happen over time, right? It's about identifying the buying committee and bringing that whole buying committee, down through the funnel. And so you kind of have to do that individualized, personalized, account-based kind of marketing that takes time. And I think, we are, starting to really develop how this personalization kind of happens. And I think, that has such incredible application in the metaverse and what could happen as we move into the citizen kind of space, right? And personalized kind of treatment, and you get what you want when you need it, right? Because you have a specific need. We all do, whether we're virtual or not. And so, to me, the practical application today is kind of happening, and we're starting to see more and more of it with artificial intelligence and really being able to get to that personalization. That was pretty much my thought. Any thoughts from you guys on her slide? You want to go back to your slide, Lisa?
Yeah, I think that's great. Let's go to the next tenet. I'm anxious to get starting our crawl tonight too, but I'm probably the only one that's going to like what we're doing, but that's okay. So number 2, the second tenet for the framework is make meaning, not money, right? To Spencer's point. And this is one that I'm sure everyone's just going to guffaw at and think is completely pie in the sky, but I think it's important. And the metaverse, and again, will enable citizens to make meaningful connections with the community and each other.
Networking doesn't make money,
The metaverse will support a free exchange of ideas and provide citizens with tools to express their views while offering protection against abuse and harm. And the metaverse will enact rules and regulations, ensuring all citizens' protection. These are things that are just basic concepts of goodness that nobody that's building this shit is talking about, like, in a real fucking way. Yes, Spencer.
I have an idea on that, which is horrifying to a lot of people.
Oh, let's hear it. I love it.
And I espouse this idea because I am a rather large white male, and so it doesn't bother me as much as it might someone else who's a small trans Asian person, and this is my idea, is that everyone online has a persona, which is their person. I was talking about having something called DocsNet or DocsWeb, where in order to be on this network, you must be identifiable, solidly identifiable, just like you are in public. So all of us here in this room, if we're in line at Safeway, there's certain social norms that most people, not all, but most people will stick with those social norms. And when we're in front of a black screen or a glowing box or whatever, and we're shouting out our just absolute craziest anger at each other, you don't do that in public.
It's true. It's the difference between LinkedIn versus
social consequences to that.
Yep.
And I had a conversation on Twitter Spaces the other day, and I said that, and someone raised their hand, and the guy was like, "Okay, what do you think?" He's like, "Fuck you, Spencer. Fuck you. You're a piece of shit." And I was like, "See, proving my point right there." This guy is,
You would never say that to my face. That's right.
You would never do
right.
that in public.
Why would you do that in a social space?
So, Spencer, are you advocating? Are you advocating that the metaverse needs to have people have verified identities?
so this is why I brought up that first part, is that it's easy for me as a somewhat affluent white male in America to be able to say who I am.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you more. I 100%. I think a key piece of this being what I want it to be is that you don't, because you're gating. Once you have to verify your identity, you're gating entrance, and I don't agree with that.
Okay,
I totally disagree with you. And a huge part of the value to what you can get out of your digital life and digital world and this, you know, aspirational place that we are building in the ethos is that you can be who you want to be. I mean, there's something very democratizing about being able to go out and be anyone. And I understand that might come with some negative side effects, but you know what? Once we start trying to identify and verify, it's like the goddamn crypto wallet that I can't fucking get.
Well,
because I have to have a passport.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, think of all the people that don't have a passport. So I completely disagree with that.
I think what Spencer is saying is that people let out their most poisonous side on in the social space. Like when you look at YouTube comments, you know, they are just the most horrific.
And that could be true, but we all
right?
need to be held accountable. And that's a paradigm shift in being held accountable with what you say. That's very different than and the solution for that problem is not gating entry and making people have to verify. And Ricky, you're very politely, you have your hand up. So Ricky, go.
Well, so I think it's a really interesting point. And this is going to be a little tangential, but I promise it makes sense. So I recently met someone from the Ukraine, and we were having this conversation about identity and passports when she goes to like try and show her ID at a bar or something like that. And in the Ukraine, they actually have a digital system where there's a digital wallet with your social security, your healthcare information, your ID, your everything is on an app on your phone. And she tried showing him this app, and the waiter's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, we don't do that here. And so this idea of like virtual identity and be able to store that information digitally, like there is cybersecurity for that. Those processes do exist. They just haven't been fully adopted, and adopting them in a way that is secure takes time and regulation and all those things. The second point I was going to make is that when you have something with virtual spaces, there's no limit to physical real estate, right? There's technically an infinite possibility of how many spaces and activities and things that can be done. And if we want things like, I mean, maybe not centralized banks is a good example, but if we want like the ability to do certain resources and outsource a certain skill set or a certain product to someone else, which we're always going to have, whether we're in a virtual world or a physical world, there's certain aspects of that you need. Some activities will need verification of who you are. Other activities won't. Some like some requests for a certain type of medicine, for example, like you kind of have to prove that you have that disease before you can get that medicine, versus just anyone being able to do it. So I think there's a balance there. Some things you will need verification for virtual identity, and then other things you won't need that gating for. And it's defining what those swim lanes look like.
Yeah, and I love that aligns very much with what Daron said in the comments about it being a balancing act. And I think that's true. It's not one extreme or the other, but again, nobody's people I guess are having this type of discussion. But it's a question that we all need to answer before we start plunging ourselves into Meta. I mean, and the metaverse that they're trying to build. Like these are questions that need to be seriously asked and profoundly reflected upon. So Billie, do you want to talk? So make meaning, not money, practical applications. Do you want to speak to this?
Well, it's a tough one, Lisa. I think about networking, right? And it's really about allowing people to really network. There's no real money behind it, but it's so critical, for humans to actually, interact, make meaningful connections. This is one of the reasons why we're on the phone right now. Is like, this is nothing official. This is just people sitting down and, having a chat. And I so wish we could do it with a drink in hand and at the bar, right? And I think, there's an opportunity here to learn from those that are doing it poorly. I think, Facebook, it's all about monetization, right? And I think they look at everything as, through that lens of how do we make money on that? And I think they're looking at, their metaverse in the same way. How do we build it so that we're making money? I think that's really the wrong perspective. I think, we should look at those that are doing it well. And I can't say there are very many that are doing it well. But, you know, Second Life has been around for a really long time, and they have figured out a lot of these issues.
Yeah.
And so I really think it's worth kind of touching on them again and going, hey guys, you know, we don't have to spend billions like Meta's doing right now to learn the same lessons over again. Why are you not adopting these lessons that have already been learned and already been figured out? And let's start from there, right?
Yeah.
So
what if Second Life actually becomes the metaverse? Like, how awesome would that be?
How awesome would that be? Exactly. And, you know, I'll tell you, I talked to the girl like from Unilever who did the Decentraland experience there for Unilever. It was a race of some kind, right? And I mentioned Second Life, and she goes, what's that? Right. And it's like, oh my God, you're killing me here. You created something in the metaverse and you don't even know what Second Life is. Anyway, painful.
So the third and final tenet is to provide access to all, and the metaverse will allow anyone access and not limit participation to the privileged few. The metaverse will provide citizens the tools to easily build the world around them and the freedom to pursue what makes them happy. And the metaverse will not censor, judge, or impose biases upon citizens, but instead encourage and support all voices and perspectives. So those are the three tenets of my manifesto. And I think that these are, you know, if we want the metaverse to be a kind place that where we can thrive, it really has to include those three things. And final practical application, Billie, of this third tenet.
And, you know, as I think about, you know, user generated content, you know, that you know, and crowdsourcing, you know, I think that this is kind of, you know, where we're allowing the audience the opportunity to kind of really participate. I did it in social film where we allowed the audience to participate. And you know, people feel so much more engaged, and they remember it so much better, and they feel valued, and like they really played a role and they were an important piece of it, right? You know, I see like crowdsourcing today. I'm working with Foundry IDG, who owns CIO.com and CSO.com and all those websites that are IT oriented. And they are crowdsourcing articles in order to produce them as fast as they can. So they pose a question to their audience. The audience writes back, and then they give them the ability for Foundry to write an article, basically using all of their quotes, right? And so they basically handpick whatever quote they want from however they responded. They kind of craft the article around these quotes, and boom, there you go. Push it out. Let's go drive, you know, a content syndication against it and drive leads. And so it's kind of happening in little pieces today. Certainly in Roblox and, you know, in the metaverse today, we see a lot of abilities for the audience to contribute. And I see this happening. I'm disappointed in like the Vans experience, for example, right? When was that in Roblox, Lisa?
It was. Mm-hmm.
Right. Where I buy my t-shirt in there, and then, you know, I can't really use it outside of the world, right? And so I think we have some problems, again, that Second Life already figured out. And again, it's that they're trying to make money and they're standing in the way of what is really possible. And they're just so small-minded. And you know, versus allowing the audience to actually earn money in the digital space. You want people to get into the digital space, let them earn money in the digital space, let them make their own stuff and actually have it shared across the metaverse. And Second Life has done that, right? So again, let's learn from those that have done it.
Yeah, we'll love it. Go ahead, Ricky.
What's interesting is like I'm thinking back to like when Instagram kind of initially started launching and taking off, and this is back when I was in the photography filmmaking world, and that's how they did it, right? Like who owned Instagram in the first place? It was creatives. Everyone that was doing photography started becoming influencers, and this is influencers before it was a bad thing. This is influencers that it was actually cool and really creative, and people creating these really unique personal stories and like creating really incredible pages that developed followings. And then they started to make money off the brands. And so they spent more time on that platform than any other platform. Yeah. And then Instagram basically got big enough to where Facebook said, well, we're not going to give you that control or that percentage anymore. We're just going to keep chipping away at it.
Yep.
And now everyone's running away to other things. And that's part of what's leading them into this direction.
Yes. And so things evolve because everyone's so greedy. Must make money, you know.
Well, and it's just, you know, and there's no blame. It's just the way capitalism works. if I can just be honest. I mean, you know, you have a board of, you know, for-profit organization has a board of directors that and stakeholders that you have to fucking answer to.
Yeah. Every time.
You can't argue with that. Like I can't argue. I mean, I can't argue.
And it's why everything's so short-sighted too. Nobody can think long-term in that scenario.
And it's that unfortunately that paradigm that will you know, drive us, will literally be our annihilation unless we kind of step back and try to have a dramatic shift. And so the final thing here is like our role, we all have a role in shaping our digital universe. You know, and I do believe we're on the precipice of a defining moment for our profession and the world at large. And our thoughts and words and actions matter now more than ever before. And it is time to pause and reflect on how we want to show up in the world, the values that we want to champion, and the role that we want to play in shaping our digital universe. And these are the questions that I think, you know, you as a digital citizen need to start thinking about. How are you going to be responsible, and how are you going to interact with these powerful tools? And how are you going to be an informed digital citizen? I've been doing this for a long time, and I still don't know where half the shit I look at comes from. I mean, it, you know, and I'm sure that there are hundreds of ways that I'm being manipulated every day that I'm not aware of. And that, you know, is I mean, I hate saying that out loud, but it's true. And so it takes time. It takes time, something that is in very short supply, to be informed. How will you honor the publics you're responsible for? As Barcom people, we have to really honor the people that are trusting us to communicate to them. It's part of our job. How are your beliefs, judgments, and words limiting the potential of what the metaverse may become? You know, to the point of like, do you interact differently when you post on social? Be mindful. Like, are you mindful of what you're sharing, and understanding what someone sees that you're sharing online is just as real as if you were sharing it in person? We all have to understand that this is not, you know, this is not a virtual space anymore. We can't call them virtual. These are real spaces where real emotions and real psyches get damaged by what we are communicating. We have to own that shit and understand that. And our culture and society right now does not support that vision at all. It supports this trolling, you know, gone in an instant, you know, disposable, trash talking culture. Yeah. That's what we are supporting by the choices that we make, and we have to make different choices. So so the final thing, my final call to action, like, what are the small changes that you can enact? You know, the next time you go to share some horrible piece of news, maybe just fucking stop yourself. Why are you even doing it? I try to be more and more mindful about the stuff that I share. I try to share, you know, gratitude. I try to be authentic, but I'm very mindful of what I'm putting into the field. Very much like, you know, what kind of energy I'm putting out there. It's the same. What are you putting into the digital field? And I think you have to be really mindful. It's time to take a mindful moment. Anyway, that's my rant.
That was a good rant. Sarah, you have your hand politely raised.
You guys said that we should raise our hands.
Yeah.
Last time we met was out at the
Emerald Line
cafe.
Yes.
And I don't know if anyone got it, but there's a podcast by a guy named John Favreau called Offline, and it's by Crooked Media, and it's such a great podcast. It's talking about all the things that Lisa just said about how the internet is breaking our brains, and how we can maybe do some things to make it less horrible out there. And so I would highly recommend.
Share the link. Can you share the link to the podcast in chat, Spencer? I'd appreciate that.
Great.
Now I have to go look for it. I can look for it. Hold on, I'll find it. It's
go
offline.
Find it. That would be great. I think it would be a great resource we can share post podcast. So I want to keep moving here, because Billie and I have an experiment we're going to do, and I don't know how long it's going to take us. And but you know, at the end of the day, when I think about the closest thing that I've seen to something that embraces the tenets that I've spoken of, it's Second Life. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. The founder, Philip Rosale, is championing this democratized metaverse. He's really taking on Meta like head to head. I got this second bullet directly from an article, I think it was like Forbes or something. Second Life predated not just the idea of a totally immersive virtual world, but aspects of crypto and Web3 as well. The endgame Linden dollar has a real life dollar peg to which it can be cashed out. This is the virtual world's most fundamental building blocks, and they're very similar to NFTs. I mean, basically, SL was dealing in NFTs 20 years ago. And I remember when I first started reading about, like, hearing this big thing about NFTs, and when I understood what they really were, I was just like, I don't understand what isn't this just like digital goods? And I know that there's some additional capabilities, and I'm not trying to simplify it, but at the end of the day, this is not new. And it's the only example of a long-term thriving virtual world out there.
1 million active users. Right.
And it's free to
Very
join,
active.
and users are uncensored. One of the big complaints back in the day was it had a lot of XXX content. Yeah, well, guess what? So does the globe. Unfortunately, that shit exists, and in a free society that's uncensored,
and they're ones that tend to use technology first. I mean, really.
So this is a really interesting post on Philip, and I love some of the quotes here, and I'll post the link in chat if you want to read the actual thing for yourself. But basically, Philip Rosedale has now come back. So Philip Rosedale founded SL, he left, he's now back, and as a strategic advisor. I think that they believe that SL does have a shot at building whatever this immersive digital world is going to be. I think they've learned a lot of lessons, and his quote here around, so being asked what he thought of Meta and their whole thing, he's like, any centralized company such as Facebook that's trying to maximize shareholder value is going to create an environment of rules that allows people to do too much harm to each other. The ideas that maximize profits for a company are not contained in the social contract that humans need to behave civilly. I mean, I couldn't.
There it is.
So succinct,
point.
So clear, so on point, and that's the problem. And until we change the paradigm shift away from for-profit, there's no way that
there's no hope.
No, there really. I just don't think that there is. So
can I say that I don't think that it's the for-profit problem that we're bumping up against. I think that it is that we live in an attention economy, and that the attention economy is what we're bumping up against. I think that paywalled sites, or sites that you use your citizen card or whatever to get into, and there is some kind of, like, if we are going to have a for-profit, have it that is that where you are not the you are not the product. And I know that you don't like that, because that then kind of smacks of elitism and classism, and people with money can go to the fancy ones, and people without money can't go to that one. But what we're doing right now is literally tearing our society apart.
Yeah.
This attention economy, where fear and anger are the only two things that we pay attention to more than anything else as humans on the planet. Fear and anger are the things that catch our attention. And so what do we see all day long on every little freaking black box that we have?
Not if you're responsible, Spencer. This is what I'm advocating. Give it up. Don't live in the fear paradigm. Don't watch it. Take control of what you watch. You have 100% control over what comes into your purview.
Do you?
Stop it. I do. I absolutely do.
I don't believe you do. I think if you go on
I do.
That you're being manipulated, even though you
do. But all you have to do is turn it off, people. All you have to do is turn it off.
You don't look at anything on the web. You don't look. Nothing that you have has any ads on the side.
I control what's on, Spencer. I'm an adult, and I take responsibility for that. And we all have to. We can't point the finger anymore. All I have to do is turn this shit off. I don't, you know what? Here's the thing. I used to get so anxiety ridden watching the news and watching all this shit coming into and we are addicted. We are trauma induced society, addicted to violence and fear. And it comes from a young age, and we are attracted to it like a train wreck. And we are being exploited. We are addicted to it. You can take control of that. You can understand within yourself what it's doing to you. You can understand that you're addicted to it, and you can turn it off.
Totally agree.
Did it. I am not perfect, and I'm not saying that I am, but I don't watch the things that cause me this anxiety anymore. I know what triggers me and what doesn't, and everyone's different. I can't give the prescription because I don't know what's going to cause you anxiety and cause you to go down the fear lane. It's different for everyone, but I'm taking responsibility for that, and that's the point, that we all have to do that.
Absolutely, we all have to do the same thing. And as an anecdotal example, I think that that's perfect, and I applaud you for doing that. But that's not the rest of the world. That's a little libertarian to expect that everybody in the whole planet is going to have the sense of self and the ability to turn that shit off. We have to change it not only on ourselves, but we also have to stop other people who may not be quite as good at filtering as we are.
But you have
stop it from going to those people.
Yeah.
But that's a red herring. That's a complete red herring. And that thinking that we have to somehow control what's out there stops us from impacting what we can control. The one thing that we can all control.
Why not? Why can't we have both?
Well, first we come here. It's a very Zen Buddhist tradition.
Agreed.
First,
100%.
you start here. All roads start here. Get Zen, control what you can control, get good with yourself. And you know what? If that's the road, then that's the road. But it's starting to do this other stuff. It's like
it's a pendulum. Look, Lisa swung all the way over. She has no television, right? She does not read any news.
Right.
But I want to be super clear though, and understand that this is not me prescribing that is the remedy. The remedy is taking a pause and reflecting, knowing yourself, taking the time to understand what the media is doing to you.
Yeah.
99% of us don't know what the media is doing to us.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
Until you understand what it's doing to you, you can't do shit to stop it.
Another vote for that offline podcast. All of this stuff that we're talking about is like straight deep in the middle of that.
Oh, so I can't wait to listen.
I have to go and help my daughter.
I know. I know this has been a great discussion.
It's okay.
Yes,
we're going to dive into
we could
second
talk about this.
next.
Yeah, all night, and it's lovely. I love debating this stuff. It keeps me thinking, and I
love it too. And I'm so glad that I get to hang out with you guys. And thank you.
Super fun. So we can keep the conversation going. What Billie and I are going to do a little experiment, and it might probably will get boring for everyone, but I'm excited about this experiment. And if everyone needs to go, eventually.
Has anyone here ever been in Second Life? Can I ask? No, none of us. Wow. Okay. Well, I've been in there a couple of times.
Say for the record,
so what was the difference between
what it is? Just haven't been in it.
Yeah, I know what it is, and
yeah,
where did the Sims come? Because I feel like the Sims was very similar, right?
Yeah, what happened to Sims? I agree with you, Tim. What happened to that?
I remember playing Sims as a kid, but I feel like they were very.
People still play it. I actually have some friends that still play it. Sims and World of Warcraft too. World of Warcraft never went away.
That's that one has been around.
All right, we're going to start the timer. It's 5:50. So the last time I created an avatar in Second Life was like 2006. And I actually have several avatars. But what I want to do, because I want to see how Second Life has evolved, and I've always said there's a hugely steep learning curve to getting involved with SL. So I'm going to put on my beginner's mind. Billie and I are going to time how long it takes to go through the setup process from start to finish. It used to take like an hour. So I'm curious, it took an hour in 2006. I'm curious how long it takes in 2022. Okay, yeah. This is the experiment.
And let's do it together.
And we're doing it together. If you guys want to broadcast with us. It's probably going to be boring as hell for some of you, but maybe some will enjoy it. But this is, so we're going to go, and it's 5:50.
Interesting to see in comparison to the others, because we've all been in the others. All right, timer started. Let's go, Lisa.
All right, here we go. So,
this is what I love about XR Pub Crawl is this right here. Like the conversations are fun and like this stuff's great, but I can get a lot of that on Twitter Spaces too, and just vibing with random people.
Yes.
This right here though, of like, hey, let's pick a technology once a month and just take a look at it together and actually experience what's out there. Sense. I love this.
That's good. I love that, Ricky. Thank you for that feedback. It's hard to get into.
Are you going, Billie? Are you going?
I've already done this part, honey. I'm at the point where I'm confirming my email address. I'm so sorry, I'm ahead of you. Let me go do that. Okay. I totally agree with you, Ricky. I know.
Oh, we get to learn Lisa's security question answers.
Yeah. No, okay. Thank you.
You can always change them later.
Thank you for that one. Appreciate it. I also, that's a little too personal.
I want to know what your first car was.
To broadcast. Okay, what city were you born in? Okay.
Let me find where I'm supposed to confirm my email address, and we'll make that happen.
Goodness. Okay. Oh boy. All right, Lordy. All right, okay. Choose my starting avatar. Wow. Okay, so this is interesting. This part, you getting to choose your starting avatar.
And that means that, you know, if you want something better, it costs money, right?
Are you all going through this with me? So, okay, so back in the day, you literally had, like, I think 2 options. You had a male and a female option back in 2006. And now we've got almost 20 options for your starter avatar. You got about 20 different options. And I don't know which one. I'm building my Professor Peyton avatar, so I'm going to pick one that looks the most like a professor, I guess. Or I could just be fun and do something that's kind of crazy. They got the purple hair. Wow, it's interesting. Okay. Sorry. See, this is where they get you. Like, the clock is ticking. Just pick something, Lisa, and go. Just pick something. It's like, it's so hard. Why is it so hard? It's because it's going to represent ourselves.
All right,
it's like
show us what you're looking at.
It gets complicated really, really fast. Okay. All right.
You're done with the security questions.
Oh, kind of. All right. So here we go. So these are the options, right? So you want to help me pick my avatar? These are right.
I love all these avatars. There's ones that are just, you know, really kind of fantasy oriented. There's ones that look like everyday office people. There's, you know, every color imaginable. There's no creatures or anything non-human. But you can buy those later if you really wanted to.
Got some angels up here, you know.
I'd say I've already noticed my first hiccup in the onboarding process.
Uh-oh.
If you use suggested password from Google, but then you have to download an app separately, it doesn't remember the password you just set using strong password.
That's not good.
So you've got to do forgot password right away if you use suggested passwords.
Yep.
Good to know.
Okay, choose my membership plan. I'm going to do free, everyone, free. Okay. Now it's asking me to download and install Second Life. So let's do that.
All right, I'm doing that now.
When I kind of
These are so hard to get into and they take so much time. Every single one of them. I mean, even Roblox took a considerable amount of time. I mean, It's been a while since I signed up and did that one, but I mean, every single one of them, you got to go through this process.
Just saying, this is what I like about spatial is that you don't really. It's super simple. It's literally just your email or crypto wallet, either way. And then the other thing that's really cool about it is it's integrated with Ready Player Me. So your avatars are already set up through Ready Player Me. And this is one of the reasons why I love Ready Player Me. And I'm so excited that they raised their $50 million and they're doing all the right things. Interoperable, high quality avatars with over what, like 1,000 platforms or something like that.
I need more stuff though. It's pretty like.
It's, I mean, but they just raised $50 million.
Yeah, right.
It's such a young company.
Get richer. I mean, it's pretty new. I think
and
now
they're
this
already
next round
better
of
than
money.
the meta avatar builder. And the thing too is they and they had legs already too right away. Like that's not new. That's not new for them.
That was so funny. We have legs.
They made such a big deal of it.
They sure did. It was cute.
The feeling is like Mark was just on a podcast with Lex Friedman 6 months ago talking about how they don't need legs and how all you need is hands, and they've done all these psychological studies on this.
It's like Trust saying, "I'm not a quitter," and then the next day she quit. Oh man. All right, I am still downloading. It's still happening over here.
Okay. Me too. Oh, the good old Second Life viewer. God.
You know what piece of technology really irks me that we still have all the time is CAPTCHA. I'm not a robot.
Oh my gosh.
That's still on like every website.
I don't like that either, Ricky.
Yeah, you know, it's still quite nascent, you know, it's still so young, this technology.
I think I'm in.
Really? You're in.
I went to Welcome Island or whatever, though. I don't know if that's the right one.
You're much faster than I am.
And they've got some birds in the background here.
Oh my gosh.
Still initiating texture cache over here.
Yeah. Now, it used to be back in the day that And I think you had to have a pretty fast, updated, recent computer to make this shit work, even in 2D, like even without real 3D.
Definitely in 2003.
Because the content was so heavy, just with all the crap.
Look at you with your white screen.
I was just playing the new Call of Duty the other day, and there's this level in Amsterdam that's just insane. Like it looks like Google Earth. Like
I saw that video online. Yeah.
Like I check out of video games and then come back to them every few years, and I'm just like, my mind's reblown over and over again. It's like, what? They got better? How'd they get better?
Yeah.
I'm saying all the same words. I mean it more this time.
I don't know. Gaming does it first. If it's not pornography, it's gaming. Right? Doing it first.
Well, and to Lisa's point, none of that stuff's ever going away. It's just going to become more isolated, more siloed into the edges of the virtual society instead of the forefront of the virtual society.
Yet still citizens.
Like we still have weird, creepy, divey bars out in the world. Where
we sure do.
We sure do. We have a lot of those in Portland. I'm doing the texture cache. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah. And I will say I'm not on a computer right now built for this.
10 minutes in.
Oh
10 minutes in and I'm still spinning.
Me too. Yeah.
Well, this is kind of what it's like, right?
Yeah, you got to kind of wait. It's nice. This is why I'm doing this with you, because I don't have to sit here on my own and do it, and I can chat.
Be entertained. So
while I'm waiting,
while we're waiting, I mean, I would love
Tim, why don't you share, since we're waiting, and so it will be a little bit more visually interesting for everyone. Why don't you share your screen and see what's happening?
Nice. Have you heard anything from AWE, Lisa, from Lisbon, and what's happening out there?
I've read a few of Nathan's posts. I think it's going well. He seems to be having an amazing time.
I know he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there. Oh, there we go.
Okay, look at you, Tim.
I can't.
Right, you're learning how to move around.
Yeah, still trying to move around.
Yeah, I get you. Lisa can guide you here. So Lisa, give us the lowdown on moving around.
Oh goodness. I don't even there's so many different ways you can move. Obviously you can use your arrows. At least you used to be able to forward, side, and back.
What I want to point out is how many people are around.
Yeah.
Right, already.
Hey, I'm new to this game. Okay, first of all, it's not a game.
Me too.
First of all, it is not a game, people. Okay. That's the first thing you have to understand.
What are we supposed
to do? Come on.
Oh, did someone just say hi to you?
Yeah, someone just said, hi, I'm new to this game. Or, hey, I'm new to this game.
That's
already funny. Making friends,
already
man.
Networking. Yes. Look at that. Look at that. Ditto. What's next?
Once you're in the conversation, you're in it. You can't. Oh, that's why it's confusing. Oh, that's the other thing. I don't want to keep talking up spatial because it's actually not my favorite.
I want you to, keep talking it up.
They also have pretty decent audio as well. So I haven't tried the spatial audio with a lot of people. That's kind of the next test I want to do is getting 10 plus.
I love the spatial audio.
We did it the other day, Ricky, right?
Well, but it was just us. I can have up to 50 people in that house. And for you guys that haven't seen it, it's like 2 stories where there's an upstairs and a downstairs and then there's a balcony.
Oh, so you want to take us in there next time? We can only do it via VR, right?
We can do it on VR or on even just like a URL.
Nice. Oh, let's do that. Let's do that, Ricky.
I'd love
to come to your house. So the spatial audio is really nice, right? So you can have a conversation, with 5 people when the house is filled with 50.
Yeah, right? And actually hear each other. And there's going to be background noise, of course, just like there would be in a house.
Exactly.
But the fact that they've gotten it good enough to where you can do that.
There you go, Tim. You're making it work. I love it.
Yeah, I'm just walking around.
I love it. All right. So what's over to the right? Are these additional avatars that you can pick over here to the right? Are they like upgraded avatars? Maybe they're probably showing you some of the different things you can do. Are they maybe they're animations? So you have to buy animations that you can kind of animate your, like, so look at that guy doing his arms. Like, so there's scripters that build, you know, hundreds of thousands of animations so that your avatar can do cool things.
Scripters,
Like dance or walk. It gives your
owned
avatar
by Second Life, right?
No,
These are all individuals that build these things.
Absolutely. You've got scripters and builders that are building all this, and then they sell their scripts, and you like, you know, you can dance, and it just brings your avatar to life in a really cool way. So I don't know what, if you click on one of those things, maybe it'll give you some. Oh, there we go. There we go. Good job, Tim. I'm so glad you're doing your thing, because finally, oh my God.
I was always one of my family who was terrible at video games, but I guess I'm doing all right.
All right. So I'm finally getting the viewer to open, everybody.
There we go. Right click. So then it says.
Nice. Hopefully you can get into the same environment that Tim's in. Yeah, I'm still initiating texture cache over here.
Demo avatar.
You might want to close it out, Billy, and open it again, because mine froze, and then I had to close it and open it again, and then now it's working.
Okay, hold on.
Oh yeah, here I am.
Just say not responding.
Oh, only members of a certain group can visit this area. I've been ejected from this land. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, how sad. There's too many people in there.
Oh. Uh-oh. Oh no.
What's happening?
Oh no, it's all bad news. All right, I need to cancel that out. I need to open again. I love this. This is just so fun. All right, so hold on, everybody. Tim, you're saving the day here, because nobody wants to see what I'm doing. Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
So
it's just not that interesting.
There, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Tim, have you clicked on the little?
I think I'm trying to get myself a foam finger here.
Yeah, get the foam finger.
I get it. Hold on, now I gotta go back.
Get the foam finger.
Changing your avatar, interacting with objects.
Oh yeah, look for.
You can get free attachments to try on your avatar. You'll find free items. Nice.
All right.
Here's how you get items in Second Life.
Keep.
Nice. Okay, so this is like a tutorial that you're kind of running through. Which is kind of nice.
Inventory window.
All right, here we go now. This time for real.
Window is neat. So when you look, you see that little bar that you have off to exactly that side. Exactly. If you click on that, you can change your avatar's shirt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can see the format here. It's not easy.
Newcomer gifts.
That's
not in here.
All right, I'm in finally. I'm finally in.
Foam finger.
Yeah, you got the foam finger. Now you need to somehow enact it, right? And start doing it. Yeah, nice. There it is.
There we go, guys.
Yeah, look at you.
Look at this. All right, now I can back out.
Nice.
All right, I'm finally in. Let me.
You look at you with your foam finger.
Man, look at
this. Oh, okay. So you're on Welcome Island, and you're Fair and 22. All right.
Where did you go? Because there were 3 options, right?
Yeah, I took the third option. I took the third option.
Yeah.
Let's see if I'm gonna tell this guy it's free foam. No, run away.
There's a free foam finger over there.
Buddy, come on.
Well, this isn't bad. So now I get to go around and learn all the shit. Okay, we've got the movement. Use the keys or find the arrows. All right, I'm gonna go around here. I can send you a friend request, maybe.
Nice. You should send Tim a friend request.
Yeah. I can flying here. Flying is important.
Tell Tim how to fly.
Yeah. So it's flying. Are you on a PC or a Mac?
Mac.
Okay. So to fly, you click page up.
Oh boy.
Oh no, sorry. No, okay, you're on a Mac. I'm on a PC. So to fly, you click up. Oh God, I can't read it. Here, let me share, and then I'll show you how to fly. How about that?
Nice. Let's show us how to fly.
All right, so
So Lisa used to have an office in here. You know, she used to be big in Second Life and spend a lot of time in Second Life.
There we go. So that's how you fly on a Mac. Can you see that, Tim?
Yes. Oh wow, snotty.
Yeah.
Plus up and
what is it?
Can you see?
What's the first button?
It's home, and then the F11 or something. Let's see. I can try and move closer.
Look at you, Professor Peyton, with your little bun on your hair.
With my little bun, exactly.
Let's give it a shot. For the home.
Home. Yep, and then function up.
Page up, page down.
Function down. The up.
There I go. Woo!
Oh, we're not seeing it. Oh, there you are. Yeah. Oh, look at you flying. Nice.
There I go. So you know what? Okay, 6:08. So not bad. When did we start? 5:45? Did
5:50. We started at 5:50 and it's 6:07. Okay,
and I'm flying
by 6:07.
Yeah, you know what? That's pretty good.
You know, that's about 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
Ooh, who's that?
That's I wonder if I can ride the Phoenix.
Oh, nice. Let's
That was
fly together.
One of the only games in Decentraland I tried was like dragon racing, where you get on a dragon that's about the same graphic quality as this one here, and you fly around in a circle, and that's about it. Decentraland.
Oh, you're on the ground. You fell.
There you go. There we go. So, let me see if we can. I don't know if it's going to allow me to find Tim already.
Welcome Land?
No, I'm in on Firestorm Social Island, but I can send you a teleport if I can friend you. Let me see if I can find you real quick here. Just everything's moving a little slowly.
What's wild to me is like I'd say 80% of corporate B2B enterprise platforms look about the same.
Yes.
Like even Verbella, which is very well, looks so similar to this.
I agree.
Tim, what was your avatar name again?
T Ferron.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't.
I don't know if that speaks to the quality of this.
22?
Yeah, that's me.
Right. And maybe just Second Life has kind of really kept up, but I think even what Lisa was doing, 20 years ago in Second Life was about the same quality.
Well, and if you look at I know Fortnite's an edge case because it's such a large thing at this point, but even when they first started as a free drop, that was a huge risk, right? I mean, obviously they knew they were gonna get it, but they didn't really know, right? They didn't know free gameplay was going to lead to so much revenue.
No.
The graphic quality in that is pretty darn good. They took a cartoony approach on purpose, which helps.
I think it helps. Yeah, exactly.
But they kind of leaned into it in a way that created their own brand identity.
Yeah, I agree.
For some reason it doesn't let me fly.
Maybe you have to finish the tutorial before it'll let you fly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And you're not in search. So you're not in search yet, Tim. I think because your avatar is so new, you have not been listed in search. And there might even be some sort of setting where you have to allow them to show your profile in search. Chances are, right? But here, oh gosh, and I shut it. So I actually did want to show you this. Because you all are talking about. So I have an image here in the deck that I'll pull up and just share really quickly if my computer's just moving so slow.
It doesn't like that Second Life at all.
No, the Second Life viewer thing just slows everything down. But and I to Billie's point, I have so many images of SL back in the day. I've got literally thousands of them. But this image, this is an image of me in Second Life. This was my Second Life office from I think this was 2008 or something. This was really early days. And this was all 3D, obviously. That was my avatar. This was my global group of journalists and writers. I had a magazine called SL Entrepreneur. This was a kiosk that I created. And this kiosk we've had kiosks like this that would link back to our publication in the blog, and we put these on all sorts of places all over SL. So, I mean, this is sort of, you can see that there has been evolution, but the quality on some of these avatars is quite good for 2000 and whatever, 8, almost all those years ago. Obviously I created a lot of SL swag and such.
Those are better than Horizon Worlds.
Right, I know,
right.
And
Which
in
is
fact,
kind of sad.
because this is and I still have, so this was, again, just a lot more. I mean, there were some amazingly beautiful builds. One of my favorite builds in SL, this was the magazine that I ran, was KLM. KLM built the most amazing space in Second Life for their VIP executives. It was such a weird concept. And I have the link here somewhere. I can find it, but it was gorgeous.
Something interesting that I'm thinking about as this comes up is like, now that we've gone so much further with clouds, with the cloud, and with how we host data on servers, and like the processes of the infrastructure of the internet have changed so much. Like I feel like the direction we're heading in now is more, each kind of brand or company is kind of paying their own server costs to host their own extended reality worlds and experiences.
Yes.
And it's creating a lot of these kind of gated communities that you access via the Web 2 internet.
Yeah, and need for monetization.
Those URLs. And so I'm wondering, like, how do we make that pivot from like this Web 2 gateway into these gated kind of experiences into a more connected and interoperable system? Like, well, that's that magic sauce that I think is going to hold us back for a long time to really reach Web 2 to Web 3. And I wonder how much damage can be done as far as us establishing too many processes and too much of a system around this Web 2 gateway into the experiences.
All right. So I found it. Real Life and Second Life. Air France KLM provides shareholders with virtual platform. And this thing was, so there I am sitting in the virtual platform. But look at this. This was all 3D, you guys. It was fucking gorgeous. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful build. And you could
say was. Does that mean it doesn't exist?
No, it doesn't exist anymore. They pulled this thing out. You can't go there anymore.
Yeah.
But they had a press release, like they had an actual press release about this thing. But I mean, it was my favorite place. I loved going there, and it was an executive, like, it was so visionary for the time. And this was B2B, Billy. This was a B2B play for shareholders. They built this for a B2B audience to come in and have this very luxe experience in this 3D world, watching God knows what, shareholder reports. I mean, isn't it crazy? It's crazy.
It's a bit crazy. Yeah.
I think it's crazy. Anyway,
but here we are again, almost in the exact same space.
Here we are again, right? I mean, it's intense.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's
fascinating.
2008, y'all. 2008.
Well, I sure hope that the guy from Second Life gives Meta a run for their money and kind of brings everybody together, in a in a loving environment kind of way, with empathy and goodwill for all. I mean, can we make that happen?
Do you guys know anything about how Second Life keeps the lights on, like how they make their money?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know a lot about that. So they sell land. I mean, they make their money in a lot of different ways. They have a subscription model, so you can upgrade and buy a subscription. Right? You saw the membership plans there. You may have, Ricky. So you can get, so they have freemium model with subscriptions that you can buy. They also sell land, and so you can buy land, which obviously Linden sells. And then anytime I don't know how they do it, but they make money off of the transactions. So, thousands of transactions happen every day. There's a whole marketplace, and somehow, and it's certainly not a lot of the money. It's not like a 50%. It's not like a like a Facebook take, but they do take. And in fact, I think my friend Draxter told me like the difference. I think SL takes something like maybe 3 to 5%.
Facebook wanted 30 to 50%.
Yeah, right. So they do take a percentage of all the transactions, but it's, it's reasonable. It's sort of like what a PayPal does or whatever. It's not to the tune of 50% taking that away from the creators.
What's interesting about that is like, that's because you're kind of following on the analogy you made earlier about citizens, not consumers, is, yeah, I think that makes sense. It's a marketplace, right? Like, and there's this problem.
And people can actually work there.
You need builders to build things to attract people to show up, and then you need people to show up to get builders to be able to survive there. And like, it's building a marketplace. But the problem is, if you build it like a Facebook or like an Airbnb or like a typical marketplace, then you're going to have the same typical consumer capitalistic build of consumers and sellers. But in this model, it's like almost more like a government with a tax, where it's like the tax covers the costs of expanding the environment, building more land, growing the ecosystem. But this is where it gets really tricky, right? It's like, it's not one country building the metaverse. It's like a global thing that's happening. And every country has different politics, different cultures, different social norms. And so as we look to define what justice looks like, what the rules of citizenship look like in this ecosystem, it gets really complicated really quickly. And you have people building their own kind of walled off spaces with their own sets of rules at the same time. So this is like, it's a pretty tricky problem.
It's very tricky. Hey, Tim, click on that link. I just gave you the slur, the SL URL to get to where I am. I pasted it in chat.
I logged out. I actually have to jump in a few minutes, but okay, this is how you do it.
Yeah, try clicking on that, and then it'll ask you if you want to go there within the thing, and then maybe we can meet up. Let's see, which is the whole beauty of an SL, right?
So Lisa, can we spin around and see your face here?
Oh yeah, this see if I can do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. You don't look so dowdy from the front,
music
in the back.
Woohoo! Got my suit on. I'm rocking my suit.
Nice.
Look at that music. That's funny.
Wait, let's see if I can fly here. Hold on.
Oh, there's Tim. Hey, Tim. We're standing in the water. Oh, look at the lotuses. I just noticed we're standing in the, speaking of all my Zen talk today, we just ended up in the lotus
on this island.
How do you fly? He wants to fly.
Now I can do it.
You can do it. No.
Can you fly? Yay, right?
Nice.
All right. I know Tim needs to hop. Lisa, I think we did the SL.
Yeah,
mission accomplished, guys.
Yeah.
It was
I got to fly.
Yeah.
I've got Professor Peyton. So yeah, it was good. And what was the official time? Did we say how long?
It was 20 minutes essentially.
Okay. Yeah. No. Well, that's down from the hour that it used to be. So
like 18. Yeah.
That's not too bad.
That's not too bad. Not too bad.
Well, hey,
thank you for hanging out with us and for the conversation.
Yeah, it was it's just Billie and I. It's fun, but it's a lot more fun to have a few people. So we'll be back in January, Ricky. So maybe we do spatial for January, right?
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm also very open to feedback around how we want to make this more fun. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the idea of this is to go into shit. So I don't know if I want to just delete the whole slide section of this thing or what, but like, just want to make it fun and more, maybe
especially as we get the same people back again and again. It's like, we don't need to do the slides. Let's just jump in.
In Ricky's place on Friday, we took an avatar. We got a selfie of our avatars and we hung it up on his wall.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's great. I want to start that as a trend. That was
Tim had that. We need to take that. Do that. I love that.
On the wall.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea. Love that.
Do that.
Well, Tim, it was so good to meet you.
Likewise, guys. Yeah, it was a little quiet. I didn't want to jump. I'm still kind of, listening to what you guys have to say. I'm still fairly new to the space, so thank you for having me.
And Ricky, thanks so much for joining. As always, love having you. And we'll connect. Keep us in the loop with. How's things going with TouchCast? I know if you have to, Tim, but I'm curious.
I got to jump, but yeah.
All right. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
Tim.
Bye.
What's going on with? Oh wait, hold on. Let me stop.
Stop recording.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Thanks for being here. We're gonna stop broadcasting. Oh, hold on. Let me turn off the recording. Come on. Everything is so slow. God, I'm gonna get out.
I think you need to shut down Second Life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I need to.
That would probably help.
I'm actually impressed that my little Surface, whatever it is, Pro, actually did quite well, better than I thought.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
Mine spun for
Buzz
quite some
broadcasting.
time and got frozen, so you did better than I did.
Oh yeah, good. We're still broadcasting. Okay, stop and stop. Okay.